following podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bicbb-radio.com.
Hi, and welcome to TeaIt Up with Phil and Cindy. I'm Phil, obviously, and this is Cindy. And we're here, and we're going to talk about the Western New York, Buffalo, Niagara Falls film industry. We're going to talk about auditions. We're going to talk about what we have done over the last few months, and actually about the last year or so, and how we met. We're going to talk about the 48-hour film festival and a lot of the production companies that we're associated with, and our acting studio that we're associated with. And I'd like to welcome Cindy Sonoyan in. How you doing, Cindy? And welcome
thanks.
to our first podcast.
I'm so excited to be here. You have no idea, Phil. This is my first podcast ever.
It's mine too. And we're really excited to start this podcast. And you're going to see at the bottom of the screen how to get in touch with us. If you want to be a guest, if you want to come and talk about what you've done with the Buffalo Niagara film industry. And we're going to also be reaching out to a lot of people to get them involved with our podcast. So Cindy, tell us what you've been working on and and how you started in this industry.
I feel like you and we're going to talk about a lot of things, right? I mean, that's all we do is talk. We have to cut each other off. We talk so much. Recently, maybe we should talk about how we met first.
Well, go ahead. Tell us your
I
part of
met
the story.
I met Philly Steak and Cheese at the 48-hour, when we were filming the 48-hour film festival at St. Mary's in Lancaster. Phil was actually, I never met him before. He was sitting across from me. And should I say first impressions?
Sure, go ahead. Tell us your story.
I was a little intimidated by Phil, I must say.
Get out.
Phil was very serious. I didn't think he had a comedic bone in his body, but lo and behold, he does. But that's how we met. That was our first film that we did together, and we've become pretty close friends.
And that film was called America's Oldest Gems.
America's Oldest Gems, and it was so much fun to work on. That was my first 48-hour film that I did, and it was truly an experience. And we worked with a bunch of great people that we are now working with with our second 48-hour, which is Phil. You got the swag on right now, brother.
Well, we'll tell you a little bit about what the 48-hour film festival is. It's run by Jordan Lima and Lima Productions, and the 48-hour film festival, as Cindy knows, is a competition that takes place basically throughout the United States and around the world. And you have 48 hours to complete an actual film. The film has to be no more than 8 minutes long.
Right.
We are given a genre that you pick out of a hat. So you don't even know what you're going to get before you walk in. You get a genre.
A prop.
You get a prop, you get a character, and you get a line that has those are the three required elements that go into the 48. And we have just completed I completed my fourth 48-hour film festival. Cindy, we met on America's Oldest Gems last year, and this year we did the Healing Waters Lodge with a number of the same people. We added a few actors, and we had a really good year at the 48-hour film competition. We had 8 nominations. We had a top 10 audience favorite.
Yes.
We
a lot of laughs.
We had a lot of laughs. The 8 nominations, one of them was for best film.
Yep.
And we were a top 5. We came very close, I think, at the end to winning the whole thing. And I will say that Jane Vendetti, who is working on these projects with us, she won Best Supporting Actress, which was well-deserved. But I will also say we had 3 actresses from our film nominated in that category. Jill Mack, Jane, and Nikki Markey.
Yep.
And everyone that worked with us on the Healing Waters Lodge just did a fantastic job. And so we've actually have done a second episode because we are going to make that a series, aren't we, Cindy?
Yes, we are. We're a bunch of crazy psychos in this, but we love it.
The Healing Waters Lodge is about a lodge that hosts residents that are former or serving.
Rehabilitated.
They're sort of like in a halfway house. Is that right, Cindy?
Yeah, I would say halfway house. Yeah, and we each have our own problems and, of course, crimes that we committed that were in there, and it truly turned out to be a super funny plot, and we just had so much fun filming the first one. We decided to do the second one, and it has just as many laughs. And now Phil is actually writing, because we did do a lot of improv, which we enjoy doing, and he's actually writing the third one now.
We are one, and I have started writing it and outlining it. But to tell you what it really is it's 4 residents that are in the halfway house. They are minor infractions, but they are serving some term that they were given by some judge, some fabricated judge somewhere in the universe. And I play the manager in training, which was one of the characters from the original 48,
right, exactly,
which was one of the required elements.
Yeah.
Lloyd McHugh, manager in training. And one of the funny parts about this is Lloyd McHugh doesn't make enough money being the manager in training.
Right.
So he rents out one of the rooms as a bed and breakfast. And we have vloggers that are there, which we have to keep kind of on the down low. But they get involved with our residents, and it makes for a really funny scene and funny episodes.
It really does. Yep.
And your character, Cindy, tell us a little bit about your character.
Dr. Janet. Yeah. Dr. Janet had a little trouble impersonating a doctor, and she did a little time. And she thinks that she is truly a counselor, a psychiatrist, a doctor. And she's continually tried to give the residents therapy, which makes for some funny content.
It absolutely does. And we have Jane Vendetti, who plays Olive Green.
Yes.
And she's in there for growing weapons-grade cannabis.
Yes.
We have Sarah Weckler, who plays a character named Betsy.
Yeah.
And she's in there for her sort of minor infractions with cats.
Yes. Yeah.
We have Jill Mack,
yes.
who was in there for assaulting her husband with a nail.
Which was the prop in the 48 hour, and we kept that. We thought that was very funny. So, yeah, she assaulted her husband. I should say former husband with now.
Right. And we have our fourth, so Jill, Sarah, you.
And then our vloggers.
And then our vloggers, yes, which is Nikki Markey and Ann Polina, who are really funny. And if you watch the first and second episode, you find out why the vloggers are back, because they leave and then they come back to us in the second episode.
Yes.
And as I said, I play Lloyd McHugh, manager in training. But we have to give a lot of credit to our DP and one of our directors, Tomas Was.
Yes, Tomas is
who edits
fantastic.
And does the editing, the music.
Yeah, he's a magician.
He is a magician. Yeah. He is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, he is.
And what he does.
We
and
love
how
Tomas.
He puts together our shots and our programs.
Yes.
And his ideas and direction are just wonderful. So we are working on a third episode, and you'll see as we go along, you'll see how you can link in and watch the Healing Waters Lodge on our YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think you'll get a laugh out of it. It's only about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
long.
let us know what you think. For
Absolutely.
sure. Make sure you comment and let us know what you think about it. And if you have any crazy stories, maybe we can add those in our script too. And we do, Phil and I and the other actors in our series, we also go to class together, right?
And where do we go to class?
And we go to class to ALC Studio in West Seneca. And there is truly fantastic people up there. It's it actually is a community that is so welcoming, and I've learned so much. And I really enjoy the people there. I enjoy our teachers there. And of course, Phil and I do some classes together there too. I actually did one of Phil actually is a writer as well. So I got to perform one of Phil's script. So that was cool. What do you think? I love it there. I absolutely love it there.
Well, we'll give a shout out to Andrew Lewis Caldwell, who is the creator of ALC Studios. Andrew came back from LA to
Yes.
Buffalo.
Yep.
He was on a lot of different Nickelodeon shows and
Hannah
worked with
Montana.
Disney,
Yep.
and has a lot of film credits,
Movies.
more than I can probably mention here. And he's actually back in LA right now working on Spider-Man Noir with Nicolas Cage.
And we are so excited for him, and we are so thrilled, and we cannot wait till we can go to the screening of this.
It is a.
It's so exciting. I can't even imagine. Can you imagine that, Phil?
Well, it is.
Here we
so
come, Hollywood.
exciting.
Here we come, Phil. We hope one day.
It should be on next year on Prime. But we'll give a shout out to Chris Shear
Yes.
and Liz Menenti and
Yes.
ALC Studios has really brought us along a long way, I think. I give them a lot of credit for the people they work with and a lot of the contacts that we have made are through the studio.
Yeah.
But I think it's actually brought actors along to work together, to actually, for me, it's given me an opportunity to write, and now we direct, and now we're even producing things. And it's just been a riot this year working with all of them up there.
It really is more than just an acting studio.
Right.
Because we have the writers, and then we perform, and there's just so many things that they do there, not producing, and we've got our directors, we've got our writers, and it's just a great place for beginner writers, right, Phil?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And Phil and I and many of the actors are represented by Buffalo Talent Management.
Don Sabia, yes.
Yes, who is fantastic, and I feel lucky to be a part of that talent agency as well.
Right, and Don has done a great job kind of bringing us along, and hopefully get, that's how we get our, some of the auditions that we've been on. So as we go into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're working on, Cindy, and some of the auditions and how you get them and what you've been doing. Because I've seen you in a few commercials.
Is it
the North Towns one?
I was in the North Towns. I did. This is, sometimes like you go for months and months and months and you don't get anything, right? You know that, Phil, right?
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden the ball starts rolling. And it's like big, 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 big. And then things start coming in. And it's crazy. In this last couple months, I did, which was broadcast on TV, was a North Towns commercial. Thanks to Two Sue's Casting and Peter McGinnis. And then I did a Fredonia Place, a commercial, and I did a William Mattar. I always freaking wanted to be on a William Mattar commercial, even if it's only for, if you blink, you'll freaking miss me. And I haven't even seen it yet, but I'll tell you, Phil Mattar is one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. And so I did the William Mattar, and I'm trying to think what else I did. There were three or four of them, but I feel so fortunate to be working. I do a ton of user-generated content. That's where I film on my own. I've done a lot of shapewear. I guess when you get to a certain age, Phil, like you do like shape. Do you do shapewear? Or have you ever done?
No.
Phil, do you know what?
I gotta say, I've
Phil,
never
do you
done
know what
shapewear.
shapewear is?
I do not. And hopefully
It's funny,
I never know.
every guy that I say shapewear, they're like, "What's that?" I'm like, "It's so you can look snatched and held in, and nothing's hanging over, like flowing like the Niagara Falls." I don't know, but I've been lucky. I've been lucky for the things that I've been working on. I worked on a couple small films, and I always say it's always a bonus if you get paid,
It's always a bonus if you get paid. And everybody knows me from the Celino commercial.
Oh yeah,
that I filmed,
and it's still going after how many years?
2 years. I appear in like 4 different scenes with Ross Celino, and again, very nice guy that I got to meet and work with. And that was done by I believe the William Matar is done by Casting Buffalo. And Kyle Meck, he still do the William Matar commercials?
The William Matar was oh gosh, yes.
I believe Kyle does that.
My brain's
and I'll give a shout out to Pete Johnson and Harry Lipsitz and Kyle Meck at Casting Buffalo, because they have put me in a lot of things.
Yes,
and I want to say thanks.
We are
to them
thankful for them. Yes,
and Jordan Lima, who actually cast me in the Celino commercial with Lemur Productions. There are so many different things, and I don't think people realize how big the Western New York film industry really is. We saw a few films, Panic, that came in last year. Also, Bill Fichtner's film was here last year.
Yeah.
They're filming Yeti right now in Buffalo.
Cabrini
was here.
Which I was in, as a background.
Actually,
Rossi,
Right. I started on Marshall.
Yeah.
And it was the first thing I ever did in late 2018. And this is how I got in. I sent a picture off my phone with my name and my email, and next thing I know, I do 2 days on set with Marshall. And one of the scenes, I am standing right behind Chad Boseman and Josh Gag, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
Though I'm only in the movie about 5 seconds.
Right.
After spending
That's huge.
maybe spending 25 hours over 2 days on the set.
You got 5 seconds. That's good.
But it's a major motion picture.
Right.
But for myself, in the last 3 years, I've done, counting the 48s and other things that we've worked on together, about 28 different films.
You are always working.
And I want to give a shout out again to another Buffalo production. One thing I did with them just at the end of last year was A Tale of Two Santas.
Yes, I have to watch that.
And it was absolutely fantastic to work with that group, who also participates in the 48.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, I think, Cindy, and you can talk about it a little bit too. People don't realize this 48-hour film festival, and I know we're going back and forth because that's the way we met.
Right.
The quality of are unbelievable. What people put together in 48 hours.
Short time, right?
And
it's unbelievable.
The storytelling, and think about it. You have to put this film together. It's 8 minutes long.
Yep.
The first 30 to 45 seconds and the last 30 to 45 seconds are the slates, which are the credits and the things that are required to be in there. You have to tell that story in about 6 minutes. Mm-hmm. Beginning, middle, and end. And the quality of these stories, I am so amazed every year by going there. Aren't you?
Yeah, I was shocked. I never really knew what it was until I started getting into acting was before COVID, and I never heard of the 48 until I started in my classes. I actually started online because of COVID with Josie DiVincenzo, who is amazing. Started that online because we were going to be in person, but it ended up being COVID. And I started getting the bug, And then I started looking on social media. Like, if anyone is ever interested in getting started, I started with, looking on Facebook, joining all the different castings on that. And I saw the 48 hours. And of course, then you start meeting people and that's how I got to know it. And when I went to my first one and actually watched all the films, I was like, wow, this is amazing. How quickly everybody puts all this together. And it's, some are scripted, some aren't. I mean, they're actually writing scripts as well.
Right.
Where a lot of ours was, improvised, which we like to do, but we also, like scripts too. But it's just crazy how
we improv
fast it does. Yeah,
we improv two of them, but that doesn't mean that we didn't outline and develop the characters 100%. And things like that. I've written 2. I've been in 3. I was in the background in one of them that I wrote called 60 Seconds with Sean Patrick Green. It was his group. And
Yep, that's who I started. Yeah,
And
with
so
Sean.
it really is. But there are a lot of film festivals out there. I just did one with Kat Martinez called Contempt. I had to think of it there for a minute.
Yeah.
That Dan Conklin and Rebecca Dawn and Kat wrote.
Right.
And that was more of a 72-hour film festival where you had 72 hours to put it together. And that was another nationwide one, actually a worldwide one again. And we actually made it to the second round of voting with Contempt. And again, Rebecca Dawn was in it, Dan from, everybody again from ALC Studios.
Right,
that we work with.
Right.
And Nikki Markey was in
Yes.
it, and Sean Sanders. And and that's the thing. And I think that Cindy was trying to say earlier, it really is a family. When ALC's become a family to us, and then as you reach out and you get to know other people, the Western New York film community becomes sort of like a family, and it's like you belong to it.
Yeah.
now. And it
100%.
makes it a lot of fun to
It
know all
does.
these people.
It does.
And when you talk about all the commercials, I go, I know that person. I
Right,
know that
right,
person.
right.
And I've seen you in that William Mattar. I go, there's Cindy poking her head around the guy in the courtroom
You
scene.
blink and you miss me though, but that's okay. I made it on that screen. Yeah.
But it is a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun doing
Right.
it. So, that's kind of what our show and our content's going to be about. It's going to be about what we've done, but what others have done. And we're going to bring on guests from B3 Productions, which is Bill Murray.
Right.
And hopefully we get Chris Shear and maybe even Andrew out of LA as he's working on this other film. And we want to also say, keep everyone in your thoughts with those LA fires. They're just unbelievable.
It's crazy,
what's going on out there right now.
Yeah, so sad.
But hopefully we can, even get him on. And we're going to have our cast from Healing Waters Lodge.
Yeah.
Hopefully the next time we're here, we get a few of them on to talk about our second and hopefully our third episode.
Right.
And,
For sure.
And we're going to, and with Healing Waters Lodge, and I think you're in agreement, we'd like to do for our first season about 6 of these.
Yeah.
And see how it goes, and
Yeah,
see who's
and
out there that wants to see it.
And hopefully people will watch it, and then if they have ideas, then they can email us. We might be able to add that in there. Who knows?
We're going to have a lot of content, and who knows what platform it's going to end up on. And that's the other thing. There are a lot of people, and they're young filmmakers out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not us.
Right.
We're a little older. But.
Now, Phil, like being an actor, and of course we don't do this full time, but one day maybe we'll have the opportunity to do it full time, right? But there is a lot of rejection in it, so you got to kind of be tough, thick-skinned here, right? Because it can really put a dent in your confidence sometime. But I how do you feel? Like, I mean, it is a lot of rejection, right?
It's a lot of rejection.
Yeah.
It's almost like the more doors you knock on, the more opportunities you're going to have. And, I look at it like this, and I think you do too, because it's not our primary job.
Right.
Well, I don't work anymore, but I know you still do.
And this will be my last year, so I plan on this will be my last year, and I'm retiring, so I'm planning on going hard next year.
But I think, especially for these young actors and filmmakers, if that's really what you want to do, you have to look at it like a job. And I was reading. Someone posted, and I was reading that they spend the first 2 or 3 hours going over possible auditions. Then they go and they act. That is their job. They start with, they review where they can send auditions in.
Right.
We use different
casting networks. Right?
Casting networks
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Actors Access
Right.
or Backstage and things like that. And you really, if you really want to do this, you really have to go and see where your profile fits.
Right.
And send out and you take 2 or 3 hours and then you work on your craft for the next couple hours and you act that as your 8-hour day, really.
Right.
If that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's hard though. It's hard to make a living, doing that unless you hit something almost like the jackpot, right?
Right. But there are other things. There are commercials being shot in Buffalo.
Yeah.
There are voiceover
Right.
opportunities.
Voiceover's huge. I did a demo for my voiceover. Sometimes people really my voice sometimes isn't uh, the sweetest, but I could do a few things. I think I got that deep voice. I don't know, but I don't think I could be a fairy godmother or anything, but I could be the wicked baby stepmother or something,
Oh,
right?
that's not true. Well, believe me, I'm sure you could do that, but I think you could be the sweet,
I don't know
girl
about that.
too. But there are so many opportunities, and I think that's one of the things we've learned over the last year as we've gotten more involved. The other thing is, though, that amazes me is these young filmmakers. Like I said, working with another Buffalo production, but there are so many out there that these young filmmakers are doing their own thing. They're making their own way, because that's the other thing is nobody's going to come out and find you.
Yeah.
I mean, unless, like you said, you're extremely lucky.
Yeah. It's like winning the lottery almost,
right.
I feel.
But a lot of them are working on their own content.
Right.
And they're making their own way. I know that people we've met again through the 48 Luminary Pictures, Maria Braun.
Right.
There are so many, and I know we're dropping names and things like that.
I think that's key, though, is getting out and making your own. Sometimes you just got to do your own content, because it's not going to come to you.
Right.
It's going to drop in your lap. Right. You have to pound that pavement.
Right. Any stories you want to tell from being on any of the sets? You want to let any secret stories go?
Oh, secret
happen?
Stories
that you
want
to talk about?
I have to say, pretty much every set that I've been on, the people have been they've been pretty nice. I know. Didn't you experience the casting couch once, Phil?
No, maybe.
You wanted to. No.
I don't know about that. Well, it depends on who we're talking about. But I'll tell you a little story. And I got to shout out.
I can't think of anything crazy now.
I got to shout out to Bill Kennedy, because Billy, who is a Niagara Falls resident like me, actually, he's the one who first got me in it. And also Sherry Fairchild and oh gosh, I forgot his name.
It's like winning an Oscar. You got to remember all the names.
Well, these are all people, and that's the other thing that's important, that you network.
Networking's huge.
Network with all these people. Yeah. But they're the ones who really got me into my first background thing, and then I caught the bug, and then everything shut down in 2020.
Yep.
And my story's a little different. I won't get into that.
Yeah.
But in 2021, when things started loosening up and films started coming back, we all started working on a lot. I've done a lot of those Lifetime and Hallmark movies that come into town.
Yeah.
Fred Old and Ray movies through Casting Buffalo.
Yeah.
But I'll shout out to Billy Kennedy again, that he's the one who really got me started. And we did one film, and it's on Amazon or on Prime, they call it. And it's with Vivica Fox.
Oh,
Vivica Fox.
I love Vivica Fox.
And so as I'm walking into, they're filming at Buffalo City Hall, and I believe Daniel Baldwin was in it and everything. And we were playing senators. Vivica Fox, one of the unique things about this, the film is called Crossbreed. And one of the unique things about this film is she plays, for the first time ever, I think, in Hollywood history, a black woman plays the president of the United States.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a future sci-fi film, and we're in the future, I believe, supposed to be like 2055 or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, as we're filming, as I walk in on the set, and you know yourself as a background actor, you're on the low rungs.
That's right.
Of the
don't talk to any of the stars. Don't make eye contact.
Right. And you're not. But
don't talk.
As I walk in, I have to say, Jessica Fox was sitting right there, and I walk in and I look at her and I go, "Hello, Miss Fox."
Yeah.
And she looks so beautiful as we walk.
She is.
She
fabulous.
really is.
Yeah.
And And I walk in and I said that to her, and she was just so nice. She looks up. She goes, "Well, hello." And I go, "Well, welcome to Buffalo." She goes, "I'm so glad to be here and doing this film." And we talked for a few seconds, and a few minutes actually. And she was so nice. And it was, again, we did this film, and I'm on the set for approximately 6.5 to 7 hours, in makeup and things like that. Daniel Baldwin, who comes in, and he's playing, I believe, Secretary of Defense as the Earth is being invaded. You'll have to watch the movie Crossbreed. And he was
I'm gonna have to go back and watch this now.
He was so funny with everybody. He told these stories before we started, and in between shots. And yourself, most of being on a set is waiting.
You hurry up and wait, like in the Army. Hurry up and wait.
You sit and you wait as they set the lights, they set camera angles.
You have to have a lot of patience.
And so I'm in the movie for probably 15 seconds again, but but it was being on set with these people, and that really is a lot of fun.
It is fun.
There's nothing like being on a movie set.
Especially a big production.
Right.
It is a lot of fun. I learned a lot in Cabrini, and I also got to be a stand-in too, which was cool because I got to see up close the main characters plus the filming. You got to see behind the scenes of all the filming. That was just an amazing movie.
And that was an extremely big production.
It was huge.
And they also came in and did Nightmare Alley.
Now, yeah, right.
With Bradley Cooper.
And recently now, Phil, I know you know a little bit more about this than me, but the Yeti. Now, I thought the Yeti was an insulated mug or cooler, but tell us a little bit about the Yeti.
Well, from what I understand, the Yeti is actually a snow monster.
Is it? Yeah, like it's like the snow.
That's supposed to be like the abominable,
the fire miser,
snowman.
and what was that? The blue guy and the red guy
right.
from the old time 1960s. What was it? The heat miser.
The heat miser,
and then what was the other guy?
I have no idea, but I do remember that.
Yeah.
But the Yeti is an abominable snowman, and that's what they're filming in Buffalo right now. And again, they're on Niagara Street at the brand new. It was a multi-million-dollar studio.
I've been there, and it is absolutely beautiful.
It is. The sound stages are
it's
just
beautiful
giant.
there. Yeah.
They have 3 of them, and they go down in size. But the biggest one is a giant sound stage. And that's where they're filming now. That's where Bill Fichtner shot his film. And again, they're coming to Buffalo because, one, the crews that they can hire are really professional. They're all union crews and things like that. And they know that they can work and being so professional that they stay on budget with what they do and things like that. They also know that they have an abundance of Western New York actors and background people that they can count on that will be on the set and will do professional work. And they have this new soundstage that is on Niagara Street. So the Western New York film industry is just growing, and through a few of the studios like ALC, it's just being promoted more and more and more.
Right.
Rochester, Syracuse, I know you've gotten to do a few things out that way.
Yeah, I was actually on a billboard in Watertown. My goal was always to be on a billboard. I thought it was like what do they call it, a bucket list? I thought, like, when I was a kid, I thought, oh my God, like a kid like 5, I want to be on a billboard. And sure enough, I was on a billboard for some medical thing. They were like looking at my arm or something, and it was in Watertown, and I didn't even know I was on it. The nurse from school is like, "Hey, Cindy, I'm going to my camp," and I look up and I friggin' see you there. So she stopped and took a picture. So that's check off my bucket list. But let's talk about the real important, probably one of the most important things about being on a film is the crafty, right? Like the food. Let's go to the food because sometimes it can be really good, and other times it can be really crappy.
Well, one thing I learned with craft services on, except for Healing Waters Lodge, because Jane makes that bacon.
Well, the maple sugar bacon,
Oh
I've
my
never
gosh.
had that in my life.
Oh,
and
boy.
now that's all I want to
Except
eat.
for on our thing, and Jane, she puts out a spread because
like
we
no
film
one's
at
business.
our house
Yes,
usually,
yeah.
Because that's the
Yes,
lodge.
yeah.
But one thing I learned about being on a film set is you can tell the budget of the film by craft
100%.
services.
Right. Yeah. Low budget, low food.
You're getting
know?
pizza and wings,
Yeah.
which are good.
Yeah.
And those are the
Pizza's
films.
always good.
But those are films that you have a lot of fun
Right,
on.
right.
And those are the ones that we mostly get
Right.
these days, because we're working with young filmmakers and they're just making their way. So it's
Right.
not a knock against it. That's for sure.
No, not a knock.
But
But
definitely,
when you get good food, you're like, whoa, look at what we're getting here.
I did one, and I'll go back. I'll tell you two little stories. I did when we did Marshall. Oh my goodness! The food was catered by this by these gourmet restaurant in Buffalo, and the first day we were at the Central Terminal filming, and we started early in the morning, and we went for 15 and a half hours. And so you got breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
And the food was absolutely spectacular. I mean, it was one of the best film sets that I was ever on.
Right,
because
right.
it was really my first one.
Yeah.
First of all.
Yeah.
And you had to portray passengers that were getting off the train, I believe Bristol, Connecticut, which it was supposed to be, and you were in the 1930s, so you were in full costume, and so you had to do hair, makeup, and then you go over and
how is the hair, Phil?
How
is the hair part?
They look at they go through everything. You know that they look at everything.
Yeah.
But then you know how they separate the background actors from the rest of the crew and sets. And you know how when you do a film like that,
it goes in levels.
And you would
Let's
think,
not lie.
You would think that the stars go first.
Right.
But that's not true.
Yeah.
It's the union people that go first.
Right.
The electricians, the carpenters,
Yeah.
the camera people, the lighting people,
Right.
the gaffers, and all those people, the sound people. And that's the other thing. It's a huge industry that there's a lot of people that work, from makeup people to costumers and everything like that, but they all go first.
Yeah.
So anyways, the point is that we were making is the food was unbelievable. Then I got to do a commercial for the comedy center down in Jamestown.
Oh, right.
And we did 2 days on that set, and the food there, they must have had a huge budget, because the food there, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, was absolutely top of the line, and they actually had servers at the dinner time.
Stop it.
Serving you, and it was a line, but they
Getting
were serving
hungry now.
you. Oh my gosh, they had
I didn't
the
eat.
best food.
Yeah.
So I made sure on the second day before I left, I had dinner there
Yeah.
before I made my way
Yeah.
back to Buffalo,
Yeah.
Niagara Falls. But that is the way
Yeah.
you can tell the budget of a
Oh,
film.
I was at a commercial and they had these cookies that were like, I put a few in my purse for the ride home. I don't know. Don't tell anybody I did that.
Oh.
But I mean, I'm telling you, I swear I gained 10 pounds just on, and that was actually the one I was on the billboard. But yeah, that was great. I don't want to eat cookies, but if they're in front of me, girl, I'm going to eat them.
Wow,
you know?
they definitely go on those bigger sets. They have.
Yeah, you could gain a lot of weight.
They have appetizers, entrees, and desserts.
Yeah. I'm always thinking about food. It's a terrible thing, but that's what I think about food.
Well, is that why we do those shape things that you mentioned
And
earlier?
big. And that's why we wear shapewear, folks, to look so. Listen, everybody wears shapewear in Hollywood. Everybody. You go to an event, you don't want to see a bump, a lump. Come on, you got a tight dress on. You don't want to see that, so it just smooths you out. Looking good, yeah. I do a lot of shapewear. And I have to tell you, it must just be the age. I don't know, Is that that's what I'm reduced to? Shapewear and what else? There's something else. I can't think of it now. I will. But you know how it goes, Phil.
Well, if you
know?
think about it, just shout it out as we're talking.
I'm
here.
going to.
So what's next for you? What are we working on next? You just told me that you just sent in a couple auditions.
Yeah, I did. I just did it. You know, it's funny because when you get an audition, people be like, "Oh, what are you auditioning for?" You don't get a whole lot of details. You know what I mean? Like you just get the script and you do it, and you know, sometimes you get paid. And this one, hopefully, this one was a good paying one. I submitted for, and I remember one of my teachers told me, "Submit it." Bob Rush actually submit it and forget it. You know, so I did a casino one. That's the one I did just prior to coming here. So we'll see what happens.
Well,
you know?
and I think that's the point you were trying to make earlier is you can't be disappointed because one, you don't have the job anyway.
Exactly.
And really the job is not so much acting, it's getting the auditions.
Right.
That's really the job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so hard just to get an audition.
Exactly.
To have someone say, "Oh, we like that face.
Right.
Let's see what they can do
Yeah.
with a few lines."
Right.
That's really
That's
the
what
job.
I wanted. I like that face. I like that face.
And I believe I saw Michael Keaton. You know, and he said that the job isn't the work.
Right.
Once you get the work, you're on the set. You're
Right.
You're working. It's getting the audition
Yeah.
and doing your best work at the audition,
Right.
so you get the job and book the job.
Right.
So really, as we go along here, and like I said earlier, you know, people spend their day going through like Actors Access or Backstage and trying to find where they can send their resume and their headshots, so they get an audition
Right.
for what comes up.
Yeah.
So that's really the job. Now, I know I just sent in a couple auditions, one with Casting Buffalo,
Yes.
one with
I sent the same.
that
yes.
we did,
Yes.
that I told you send it in anyways.
Yes,
You think it's late,
yes.
it's not late.
Yeah.
For something else that we're working on. And then another film that's coming into Buffalo, Ponderosa, that I just sent another one in
I didn't
for
hear
that
about
one.
this one.
Well, I kept that one secret.
Remember the
I didn't watch it,
Ponderosa?
I know.
Wait, do you remember the Ponderosa in the Summit Park Mall?
Absolutely.
You
I
know,
remember the
I used to get the sirloin chips. Was that called Ponderosa? What
no,
was it called?
that was it. The Summit
what was
Park.
it called?
Summit Park Mall was York Steakhouse.
York Steakhouse. I'll have the number 6.
Everybody
The
got
sirloin tips.
Everybody
That's
got
what I thought of
sirloin
Ponderosa.
tips.
But there was the Ponderosa.
Ponderosa was on
in
Pineapple-
Niagara Falls Boulevard,
It's on the
right?
boulevard, what they call
I
the
remember.
boulevard.
Was that where
yeah.
you threw the peanuts on the floor? No, that was the ground round.
That was the
Yeah,
ground
that
round.
was the ground. Now, can you imagine now though with people's peanut allergies? Like, where were those peanut allergies when they were throwing the peanuts on the floor at the ground round? They didn't exist, right? Come
Right.
on.
Well, those are all places. Well, let me ask you this, Cindy. Did you ever do any acting before you got involved with ALC or any of this other stuff?
Well, I did. I've taken classes from Bob Rush. He was wonderful. Josie DiVincenzo, I did online, I told you. And, of course, Frank Rossi. And now I'm at ALC. I love them all. I was going to say something, and I forgot.
It'll come to
Sometimes my mind goes, woo! You know, Phil, I'm like, woo, like the shiny thing goes, and I'm gone. I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, if I think of it,
Again, shout it
yeah,
out.
I can't think now.
But so you have done things before.
Oh, I
COVID.
was going to say, I'm a teacher. I'm a phys ed teacher. So I actually got the bug. I did a Bills video with my students. And I did that probably 5 years ago, and kids are still watching it. That's how I wrote it real quick. We took one take to do it. And then, of course, we did a Bills 2 one. And my students loved it. That's how that actually started. That I think I got the acting bug from that. You know what I mean? From doing that with my kids. And, I went on to do a few more things with my kids after that. But that's how it started for me.
Well, it's surprising how you fall into different rivers of life.
Right. Exactly.
And how they
Yeah.
intersect and
Yeah.
how we've met each other, even though we both live in this area.
I know, it's crazy.
And Sarah and
Yes.
everybody on the Healing Waters Lodge, and I'm going to keep saying that because we want you guys to go out and watch our episodes, and I can't wait to film number 3.
Yeah,
there's a lot of surprises coming up.
Yeah, and I want to hear what people really think of it too.
I do too,
because we're evolving and growing. I mean, so we could take criticism, give it to us, right?
Well, absolutely. That's the only way you get better.
That's right.
So for me, like I said, I kind of just fell into it.
Yeah.
I've never acted or anything like that.
Yeah.
I can tell you a little tiny story. I love to tell the stories, as you can see.
Yes, we know that, Phil.
When I was 11 years old in 5th grade, Bill Guyman's wife at the time, Mrs. Guyman, my 5th grade teacher, got me involved with Niagara Falls Little Theater.
Oh my God, you went to Newport?
No.
Okay.
She was at 66th Street School, which I know Rich knows very well.
Yeah.
As we're here, and we're here at
yes.
Emerge Media.
Yes.
And Rich knows very well. He grew up in the same. We grew up in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
But Mrs. Guyman got me to do Gypsy as one of the newsboys. And if you know Gypsy, the musical, and it's one of those old musicals, classic.
Yeah.
I was in it, and my sister Nancy, who was 9 years old, and another friend of ours who went to LaSalle, Jennifer Newland, who went on to a huge Broadway career and has been around the world with that same career,
Gosh, that's so
meeting some of the biggest stars on the planet and working with them in London and Australia and Europe and the United States. So Jennifer, we're giving you a shout out too. And
so that's how it started?
That was
the beginning?
Well, that was the first thing I ever did.
Did you sing in that?
It was singing and dancing and Miss Bev's dance studio. If you remember Miss Bev, married to Bill Fader.
Roll it back, Phil. Roll it back.
1971. We did 2 weeks of shows every single night, and 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday. And I never did another show again.
Do you remember any of the songs? Can you give us a little? Come on, give us a little.
I'm not going to sing any.
Wait,
but
now
I
you're
was Clarence in his classical clarinet to start the show off, and then we were the newsboys, and then it switches to the older people. It was a great show. Niagara Falls Little Theater was a tremendous theater group for many, many years. But then I never did anything else.
Yeah.
So 40 some years later,
right,
in 2019, I get involved with with Tom Vitello and Dennis Wilson and Sue Marcolini, and they are doing Jesus Christ Superstar at the high school with the Niagara Falls Presidium Players, I believe it is what they call it. And I got to do that, and my sister Nancy does it with me 40 some years later.
You're like a duo.
And her
can't do one without the other.
And her niece, and my niece, her daughter, who is a tremendous Julia Pederesi, who's at UB, and I believe her senior year in drama and theater, and a tremendous talent, we're the three of us get to do that.
Yeah.
And I did a couple of productions with them. We did Superstar with a great cast and a tremendous group of musicians. We did it with a live band, but it was 40 some years later before I actually did another stage production.
And should we tell all the listeners where you're going to be tonight singing Phil Collins?
No, we won't, because
Phil likes to sing.
This will be on after that, but and that's how Bill Kennedy actually. I got to know Billy doing karaoke somewhere.
Yeah, geez, I didn't know you sang.
Well, whether it's good or not, it's a whole nother story.
I sing, but nobody wants to hear me sing. I sing in the shower, Nobody wants to hear me sing.
Everybody sings. And here, this is the thing. When you do things and you have fun doing karaoke, it's not about whether you're good or not. It's how much fun you're having with it.
Yeah.
And, getting back to our film stuff, we have a tremendously good time on our sets, don't we?
Oh my God!
When we did America's Oldest Gems, the funniest scenes in there were you and Sarah and Jane doing
our competition.
Just a little bit about that film. It was about it was about older women and beauty pageants.
Yes.
We got mockumentary 2 years in a row. Did we
got
not?
lucky, yes.
For the 48. I don't know how lucky that is. But
I love those. Yeah.
But we did it. And your scenes on that exercise ball were unbelievably funny.
Yes.
And
hopefully people will watch it. Yeah.
And that's another one that if you can bring that up on YouTube, I believe that's on YouTube too.
Yeah, we got a lot of laughs on that one too. Yeah.
So we actually have had just a great time.
We've had a great time
doing our work and being on film sets together.
Yes.
The Healing Waters Lodge, we're saying that a lot because we do want you to watch that.
Yes.
We've had so much fun, and we'll be bringing in some guests because there's going to be a lot of things over the next. I think we're going to do 4 more episodes.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a little bit of, we
we
left it with a cliffhanger.
Yeah, we got to get some guest stars
and we're
going to
have some
and
different
we have Joe
things.
the cat, and hopefully he's getting older, but
Joe the cat.
he looks like a kitten, but he's not. He's a little bit older, but that cat cries like a baby, right?
Right.
Just the cutest little cat. Funny.
So that's where we're at. And again, I got into it a little bit. One production in 2018, as I said, Marshall, which was a huge movie that came into town. They did film in Niagara Falls at the LaSalle Library a little bit. And then from there, in 2019, I got the opportunity to do a bunch of those Lifetime movies, the Fred Olen Ray films.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've done over 30 films now. And it's just been something that I've been really fortunate in so many ways to get on these productions, and also meeting everyone that we've got to meet, from directors, the writers, and it's opened up a lot of avenues, and casting people.
Yeah.
It's just opened up a lot of avenues to go.
100%.
I know Casting Buffaloes, they've been really good to me. Jordan Lima with the 48 and Lima Productions, ALC.
Yes.
And Don Sabia at Buffalo Talent Management.
Yes.
We have just had a great time with all of them and working together. And there's going to be a lot of things in the future that we're going to talk about. And as I believe we're coming to the end here.
Yeah.
We want you to tune in, and we want you to be participants. Send us. We're going to post where you can send an email. We're going to, hopefully you watch us.
We'll have our socials.
And our social media's up.
Yeah.
So we really want you to participate with us, and we're going to talk about a lot of subjects, Cindy, in the future. And what do you have? I mean, tell us maybe what you're thinking. Where we're going to go.
We talk so much, right? Philly, we talk so much, not just about acting, but we talk about our lives. We talk about dating. We talk about fashion, right? I got a couple Date Aster stories, right? I'm sure Phil has them. We'll bring a little of our personalities to it. We'll bring our people in, and I think we're going to have a ton of fun.
Yeah, so you'll be able to as we go through our podcast here, you're going to be able to see where to send any information or request. Like Cindy said,
a little bit about everything.
We're going to have a little bit about everything. We're going to have guests on.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk and talk and talk. So Tee It Up with Phil and Cindy is going to be a regular thing.
Tee It Up!
And we're going to have a little fun. And
that's TEA.
TEA. Wow, we have our tea together and have some fun together.
We're going to spill a little tea. That's right.
Well, there's so much to talk about. We've gotten and been lucky and been fortunate that we have gotten to meet all these people. And I feel very lucky that I get to do this podcast with you.
Philly, I feel lucky to be here with you.
And we're going to have a lot of fun, honey.
Cheers.
Cheers. So look for us. You'll see how to contact us. Watch Healing Waters Lodge.
Yep.
I'm going to also have Rich, who is our production person here at Emerge Media. We're going to also have a link to A Tale of Two Santas. That was done by another Buffalo production.
I can't wait to watch
I'm
that.
so proud of that movie, that I had the opportunity to work with these guys. They are really good filmmakers. And also, like I said, we're going to have a lot of people on. So join us when you can.
Yes, join us.
And watch us and contact us whenever you want.
And make sure you comment for sure.
And comment.
Yes, 100%.
So thanks, everybody.
Thank
Tee
you.
It Up. Tee It Up.
Tee It Up.
Thanks, everybody.